Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature is for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
Hey, welcome everybody to the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where black folk do read. You put it in a book and we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified global financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. And today we are going to continue our journey into a book called The Atomic Habits. We are almost at the end of this book, guys, so hopefully you have been improving your good habits and breaking your bad ones. And today we're going to talk about how to stay motivated in life and in work. How to stay motivated in life and in work. Today's episode is being sponsored by the Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace, which specializes in Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, and also Black art-inspired gifts. You can shop Black and get some pretty cool stuff by simply going to the website www.theblackbazaar.com, www.theblackbazaar.com. Once you guys remember this, now once you shop Black, you never go back. Everybody put in console hashtag motivate. So it's the Goldilocks rule here. We're into chapter 19 into the book called Atomic Habits. Again, it's by James Clear, an easy and proven way to build good habits and to break bad ones. And we're going to talk about how to stay motivated in life and in work. Now, do a quick recap in case you've missed the 4 rules to behavior change, which is basically saying, you know what, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to control what I can control. I'm going to work on me. And then let the chips fall where they may. Well, here's the 4 laws that he mentioned to behavior change to improve your good habits and to break your bad ones. First, he said, hey, you want to make it obvious, to make the good habits obvious and make the bad habits invisible. Make it obvious, the good habits, and make the bad habits invisible. Second, he said, hey, you want to make your, let me see if I can find it real quick. You want to make your good habits attractive. Make the good habits attractive, make your bad habits ugly. Third, he said, hey, make the good habits easy to do, and make the bad habits difficult, right? Make them difficult to do. And then fourth, he said, hey, you want to make your good habits satisfying and to enjoy them, and make your bad habits unsatisfying. And so last episode, we talked about how important it is to, it talked about talent and the truth about talent. Today we'll talk about how to stay motivated in life and in work. New Black Wall Street Book Club. Let's read. In 1955, Disneyland had just opened in Anaheim, California, when a 10-year-old boy walked in and asked for a job. Labor laws were loose back then, and the boy managed to land a position selling guidebooks for 50 cents apiece. Within a year, he had transitioned to Disney's magic shop, where he learned tricks from the older employees. He experimented with the jokes and tried out simple routines on visitors. Soon he discovered that what he loved was not performing magic, but performing in general. He set his sights on becoming a comedian. Beginning with his teenage years, he started performing in little clubs around Los Angeles. The crowds were small and his act was short. He was rarely on stage for more than 5 minutes. Most of the people in the crowd were too busy drinking or talking with friends to pay attention. One night, he literally delivered his stand-up routine to an empty club. It wasn't glamorous work, but there was no doubt he was getting better. His first routines would only last 1 to 2 minutes. By high school, his material had expanded to include a 5-minute act, and a few years later, a 10-minute show. At 19, he was performing weekly for 20 minutes at a time. He had to read 3 poems during the show just to make the routine long enough, but his skills continued to progress. Everybody put in the comments on progress. His skills continued to progress. He spent another decade experimenting, adjusting, and practicing. He took a job as a television writer, and gradually he was able to land his own appearances on talk shows. By the mid-1970s, he had worked his way into being a regular guest on The Tonight Show and Saturday Night Live. Finally, after nearly 15 years of work, the young man rose to fame. He toured 60 cities in 63 days, then 72 cities in 80 days, then 85 cities in 90 days. He had 18,695 people attend one show in Ohio. Another 45,000 tickets were sold for his 3-day show in New York. He catapulted to the top of his genre and became one of the most successful comedians of his time. His name is Steve Martin. Martin's story offers a fascinating perspective on what it takes to stick with habits for the long run. Everybody put in console, stick with your habits. Stick with your habits for the long run. Comedy is not for the timid. It is hard to imagine a situation that would strike fear into the hearts of more people than performing alone on stage and failing to get a single laugh. Yet Steve Martin faced this fear every week for 18 years. In his words, 10 years spent learning, 4 years spent refining, and 4 years as a wild success. Why is it that some people like Martin stick with their habits, whether practicing jokes or drawing cartoons or playing guitar, while most of us struggle to stay motivated? How do we design habits that pull us in rather than ones that fade away? Scientists have been studying this question for many years. While there is still much to learn, one of the most consistent findings is that the way to maintain motivation and achieve peak levels of desire is to work on tasks of just manageable difficulty. The human brain loves a challenge, but only if it is within an optimal zone of difficulty. If you love tennis and try to play a serious match against a 4-year-old, you will quickly become bored. It's too easy. You'll win every point. In contrast, if you play a professional tennis player like Roger Federer or Serena Williams, you will quickly lose motivation because the match is too difficult. Now consider playing tennis against someone who is your equal. As the game progresses, you win a few points and you lose a few. You have a good chance of winning, but only if you really try. Your focus narrows, distractions fade away, and you find yourself invested in a task at hand. This is a challenge of just manageable difficulty, and it is a prime example of the Goldilocks rule. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. Martin's comedy career is an excellent example of the Goldilocks rule in practice. Each year, he expanded his comedy routine, but only by a minute or two. He was always adding new material, but he also kept a few jokes that were guaranteed to get laughs. There were just enough victories to keep him motivated and just enough mistakes to keep him working hard. There were just enough victories to keep him motivated and just enough mistakes to keep him working hard. When you're starting a new habit, it's important to keep the behavior as easy as possible so you can stick with it even when conditions aren't perfect. This is an idea we covered in detail while discussing the third law of behavior change. Once a habit has been established, however, it's important to continue to advance in small ways. These little improvements and new challenges keep you engaged. And if you hit the Goldilocks zone just right, you can achieve a flow state. Now, a flow state is the experience of being in the zone and fully immersed in an activity. Scientists have tried to quantify this feeling. They found that to achieve a state of flow, a task must be roughly 4% beyond your current ability. In real life, it's typical, not feasible, to quantify the difficulty of an action in this way. But the core idea of the Goldilocks rule remains: working on a challenge of just manageable difficulty. Now, for those that are catching us here live or maybe catching a replay, I want you to think about something that you are implementing into your life right now that's a challenge of just manageable difficulty. It's not too hard, it's not too easy, but it's just right. Something on the perimeter of your ability seems crucial for maintaining motivation. Improvement requires a delicate balance. You need to regularly search for challenges that push you to the edge while continuing to make enough progress to stay motivated. Behaviors need to remain novel in order for them to stay attractive and satisfying. Without variety, we get bored. And boredom is perhaps the greatest villain on the quest for self-improvement. Boredom is perhaps the greatest villain on the quest for self-improvement. Now, think about this for a second. How many guys have been in a position where you were just simply bored, right? You weren't tired. You were simply uninspired. You weren't tired. You were just simply uninspired. In other words, you were bored. And the boredom of the day kept you from making any progress at all. And so it says to me that sometimes we simply need to challenge ourselves. Everybody put in the console, challenge myself. You got to challenge yourself. This might be a new activity. This might be a new project. This might be a new habit. Challenge yourself, right? So you don't allow boredom to get you to a place of inactivity. And we know that inactivity is the devil's playground. Challenge myself. So in the comments, I'd love for you to share how you are challenging yourself today. How are you challenging yourself now? Where is a place in your life where you are challenging yourself and it's causing you to move forward and to be motivated to continue doing it? Challenge yourself. So I'll tell you what I'm doing, guys. I'm working on a new project. I'm working on a new project. I'm looking to get into the rental car business. I'm looking for cars. I'm trying to find deals and all this stuff. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that keeps me motivated because I'm looking, man, when I get that first car, oh, I can't wait to get that second car, right? So it's got me locked in. It's got me motivated. It's got my attention. It's a challenge to get this business going, but I'm motivated to do it. Challenge yourself. Now, prior to this new idea, I was getting bored. I had accomplished a lot of things and I had been successful and I had overcome and I had won. And it was like, okay, I'd been there, done that. I need a new challenge. Challenge yourself, right? To overcome boredom, which leads to inactivity. Now, I know we come through COVID, so being bored can be serious, especially if you can be stuck in the house and you ain't really out doing some of the stuff. You got to find a new way to challenge yourself. How to stay focused when you get bored working on your goals. How to stay focused when you get bored working on your goals. After my baseball career ended, I was looking for a new sport. I joined a weightlifting team, and one day an elite coach visited our gym. He had worked with thousands of athletes during his long career, including a few Olympians. I introduced myself, and we began talking about the process of improvement. What's the difference between the best athletes and everyone else? I asked. What do the really successful people do that most don't? He mentioned the factors you might expect, like genetics and luck and talent. But then he said something I wasn't expecting. At some point, it comes down to who can handle the boredom of training every day, doing the same lifts over and over and over. His answer surprised me because it's a different way of thinking about work ethic. People talk about getting amped up to work on their goals, whether it's business or sports or art. You hear people say things like, it all comes down to passion, or you have to really want it. As a result, many of us get depressed when we lose focus or motivation because we think that successful people have some bottomless reserve of passion. But this coach was saying that really successful people feel the same lack of motivation as everyone else. The difference is that they still find a way to show up despite the feelings of boredom. Everybody put in console, find a way. They still find a way to show up despite the feelings of boredom. Now, I'll tell you guys, even in doing this book club, I'm still finding a way to show up. Read every day, right? 30 minutes a day to keep broke and stupid away. I'm finding a way, even through some of these chapters that might be boring. I find a way to get up and go through this reading process, right? Because I understand the benefits of what I'm getting in return. I'm working on my mind. I'm working on myself. I'm performing what we call personal development. And sometimes personal development can be boring, but it is worth it in the long run. Find a way to show up despite the feelings of boredom. Now, what's something that you're involved in right now in your life that you still have to find a way to show up, although it might feel a little boring as you're going through this process of self-mastery, you're going through this process of achieving your goal? What's something that you just simply have to decide, I'm going to show up no matter what, no matter how boring it may be? Mastery requires practice. Everybody put that in the comments below. Mastery requires practice. But the more you practice something, the more boring and routine it becomes. Once the beginner gains have been made and we learn what to expect, our interest starts to fade. Sometimes it happens even faster than that. All you have to do is hit the gym a few days in a row or publish a couple of blog posts on time, and letting one day slip doesn't feel like much. Things are going well. It's easy to rationalize taking a day off because you're in a good place. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. We get bored with habits because they stop delighting us. The outcome becomes expected. And as our habits become ordinary, we start derailing our progress to seek novelty. Perhaps this is why we get caught up in a never-ending cycle, jumping from one workout to the next, one diet to the next, one business idea to the next. As soon as we experience the slightest dip in motivation, we begin seeking a new strategy, even if the old one was still working. As Machiavelli noted, men desire novelty to such an extent that those who are doing well wish for a change as much as those who are doing badly. Perhaps this is why many of the most habit-forming products are those that provide continuous forms of novelty. Video games provide visual novelty. Porn provides sexual novelty. Junk foods provide culinary novelty. Each of these experiences offer continual elements of surprise. In psychology, this is known as a variable reward. Slot machines are the most common real world example. A gambler hits the jackpot every now and then, but not at any predictable interval. The pace of rewards varies. This variance leads to the greatest spike of dopamine, enhances memory recall, and accelerates habit formation. Variable rewards won't create a craving. That is, you can't take a reward people are uninterested in. Give it to them at a variable interval and hope it will change their mind, but they are a powerful way to amplify the cravings we already experienced because they reduce boredom. The sweet spot of desire occurs at a 50-50 split between success and failure. Half of the time you get what you want, half of the time you don't. You need just enough winning to experience satisfaction and just enough wanting to experience desire. This is one of the benefits of following the Goldilocks rule. If you're already interested in a habit, working on challenges of just manageable difficulty is a good way to keep things interesting. Of course, not all habits have a variable reward component, and you wouldn't want them to. If Google only delivered a useful search result some of the time, I would switch to a competitor pretty quickly. If Uber only picked up half of my trips, I doubt I'd be using the service much longer. And if I floss my teeth each night and only sometimes ended up with a clean mouth, I think I'd skip it. Variable rewards or not, no habit will stay interesting forever. At some point, everyone faces the same challenges on the journey of self-improvement. You have to fall in love with boredom. You have to fall in love with boredom. We all have goals that we would like to achieve and dreams that we would like to fulfill, but it doesn't matter what you are trying to become better at. If you only do the work when it's convenient or exciting, then you'll never be consistent enough to achieve remarkable results. Let me repeat that again. If you only do the work when it's convenient or exciting, then you'll never be consistent enough to achieve remarkable results. If you only do the work when it's, oh, here we go. I'm looking for my highlighter. If you only do the work when it's convenient or exciting, then you will never be consistent enough to achieve remarkable results. I can guarantee that if you manage to start a habit and keep sticking to it, there will be days when you feel like quitting. When you start a business, there will be days when you don't feel like showing up. When you're at the gym, there will be sets that you don't feel like finishing. When it's time to write, there will be days that you don't feel like typing, but stepping up when it's annoying or painful or draining to do so. That's what makes the difference between a professional and an amateur. Professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. Professionals know what's important to them and work towards it with purpose. Amateurs get pulled off course by the urgencies of life. I want you to think about the things that you want to achieve, beautiful people. And ask yourself, being honest with yourself, are you a professional or are you an amateur? David Cain, an author and meditation teacher, encourages his students to avoid being fair weather meditators. Similarly, you don't want to be a fair weather athlete or a fair weather writer or a fair weather anything. When a habit is truly important to you, you have to be willing to stick to it in any mood. Everybody put in console, stick to it. When a habit is truly important to you, you have to be willing to stick to it in any mood. Professionals take action even when the mood isn't right. They might not enjoy it, but they find a way to put the reps in. There have been a lot of sets that I haven't felt like finishing, but I've never regretted doing the workout. There have been lots of articles I haven't felt like writing, but I never regretted publishing on schedule. There have been a lot of days I felt like relaxing, but I've never regretted showing up and working on something that was important to me. The only way to become excellent is to be endlessly fascinated by doing the same thing over and over. You have to fall in love with boredom. You have to fall in love with boredom. Now, I don't know about you, beautiful people, but that seems like it's a little difficult for me because I like excitement. I like newness. I like change. And yeah, that could be a little tough. Here's our chapter summary. Beautiful people, here's what we have taken away from today. We've got 5 points, 5 major points the author wants us to capture from today's reading. Number 1, the Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Again, challenge yourself. Point number 2, the greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. That is huge. I mean, I want you to think about that for a second. How many guys got started with something you just simply got bored? You got bored with it. You got bored with the relationship. You got bored with the task. You got bored with the ride. You got bored with the exercise. You just simply got bored. Point number 3. As habits become routine, they become less interesting and less satisfying. We get bored. Point number 4. Anyone can work hard when they feel motivated. It's the ability to keep going when it isn't exciting that makes the difference. And point number 5, professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. Amateurs let life get in the way. How many guys will be honest and say, there have been moments in your life when you have let life get in the way of you accomplishing your goals, of you building your dreams, of you acquiring your aspirations. You simply let life get in the way. You're an amateur. But you are mastering self to become a professional. I'm mastering self. I'm not trying to master everybody else. I'm not trying to master their desires. I'm not trying to master their thoughts. I'm not trying to master their opinions. I'm not trying to master anybody else. I'm mastering self and becoming a professional. How about you? This is the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. You put in a book, and we absolutely will find it. Going through the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and today we covered how to stay motivated in life and in work. How to stay motivated in life and in work. Today's episode has been brought to you by the Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace, which specializes in Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, and Black art-inspired gifts. Shop Black with us by simply going to the website www.theblackbazaar.com, www.theblackbazaar.com. Well, beautiful people, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode, and want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we really need. And thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club with your host Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Now you ain't gotta leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah. The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street Book Club.